感谢万博士跟我们的分享。好，下面进入我们今天的升学大讲堂。那么 Mr. 皮埃尔先生呢，要为大家带来这个手把手教你填写 Ucla 还有 UC Berkeley 的申请书。
Hi, this is Pierre for Wenmei. Today's topic is going to be the UC application. So I'm going to refer to a presentation. The same application would apply for the other UCs as well, but this one is based on UCLA. Okay, so we're going to do a walkthrough with a focus on this early academic outreach program, which we're going to discuss later on. So to begin, of course, you need to create an account, first of all, because it's its own independent admissions process for the UCs compared to, for say, like Common App, which would be for over 900 universities in the US. In this case, the UC app is going to be for the 9 UC schools. So you begin with that. Next, you transition into filling out your personal information. So, you know, if you were born in the US and where you were born and things like that, and how long you've been here, which leads to questions about citizenship and residency. And of particular importance are these questions that deal with California residency. So as you can see, the reason why is because it says it's important for us to know your residency because UC has different admission criteria for California and non-California residents. So it's important to make that distinction. And that's why they have these questions, which of course, something like the Common App doesn't. Next, they're going to ask you about your parents' education. So this is to just create your profile. And besides that, they're going to ask about household size and household income and things like that. And this question in particular, like it says here, we may use this information to help us determine if you're eligible for certain outreach programs, scholarships, and other application fee waivers. That it's not used for financial aid. Of course, that's its own separate process. But this question will be relevant to whether you qualify for an application fee waiver at the very least. Okay, so after you get through that, the next step is to decide how you're going to be applying. So some students who, for example, earn their AA can think about applying as a transfer student because they will have completed their first 2 years. However, the majority of applicants are going to be freshmen, that is, seniors graduating high school that are going to be entering as freshmen at the college level. You also have to indicate the term, so whether you're going to be starting in the summer, in the fall, with most students starting in the fall, and maybe some starting in the spring semester of the following year as well. So I've seen that too. The next slide has to do with the geography of the different campuses. So you can see at once how the different campuses are located, and you do have to indicate your selections. Notice here on the left that they indicate that you've qualified for 4 application fee waivers. So of course, this was based on the information that you filled out beforehand relating to, you know, household income and things like that. And then it says that after 4, you would have to pay $70 for each additional application. In general, when it comes to admission strategy, you want to apply to several UCs. So that way you increase your chances of getting into a UC, as opposed to just putting everything on one UC. Of course, there's a cost associated to that, as you saw, where each application would be $70. But that's beyond those that they give you an application fee waiver for, which of course depends on your eligibility. So again, this is where you would be indicating the different campuses. And besides indicating your choices for campuses, you also have to indicate your choices for a major. So we've talked about this in other videos, but for the most competitive majors, it might be a better approach to apply as undecided, or at the very least, a major in the same school. So as you can see here, actually, some of these universities have two separate categories for major and alternate major, except for UC Berkeley, which doesn't offer an alternate major. So choosing a major can kind of put yourself in a box, but also it has to do with your chances of getting into the major. So if it's a very competitive major, applying directly might not be the best option. So that's why they're giving you basically two chances. So let's say you're into physics and math. You can think about applying to a physics major first, and as a math major as your alternate major. The next thing has to do with UCSD. So this is just an example of you showing your preferences in terms of where you'd like to live on campus. So you can sort this list and think about, your first selection, second selection, your preferences in terms of how you would want to be ranking where you want to live on campus. From there, you transition into academic history, with you being able to indicate if you took any math courses, for example, in 7th or 8th grade. And then besides that, you have your high school information. So this is where you fill out, where you went to high school. Of course, you can fill out whether it was in California or outside of California, or even outside the US if you're an international student. And from there, you start to begin the process of filling out your academic history, including summer classes. So they're going to ask you about your school's grading system, the term system, so you'll indicate all of that. And once you do that, including your graduation plans, you should be able to start entering all your grades manually. So this is where this process can be a little bit more tedious as opposed to Common App, where it's only required by some schools that you enter your courses and grades. But for the UC app, it's part of the application, so it's always required. So as you see here, these are some examples of grades and courses and honors types, everything that's coded already. So you would just look up your class. If there are classes that are not on here, then you would manually enter them. So they have that option here too, that I don't see my courses. So you can manually enter the courses yourself, and the grades and honor type and the course name. So you'll continue to do that for all school years. Next, they also give you the opportunity to indicate if you attended a community college, for instance, for dual enrollment to complete a college course. So this is similar to filling out the information for high school, except you're doing it for a college you attended during taking the class that you took. So this would be an example of that, and you would indicate when you took the class and also how you did, and you would look up the class, the name of the class, and you would indicate your grades. Next, you have something that's really important. This is the additional comments section. So I would say that this is a good opportunity for you to discuss your spike. In other words, your top extracurricular activity. You can provide more context. You can give more information about, what were the things involved and how the program worked, or how the extracurricular activity works. You can do things like that. The next slide has to do with updates relating to testing because of COVID. So now UCs have become test optional because obviously during COVID, people weren't able to meet to take the test. However, the general consensus is if you scored really well, you should definitely include it for these test optional schools, which include the UCs. And here you can see how you have the possibility of indicating your scores. So, when you took your scores and how you did your scores, and you can enter different kinds of scores, ACT or SAT. The next part is the activities section. So you see you have 20 entries as opposed to 10. However, these 20 are made up of activities and awards, as opposed to just activities and then separately awards like in Common App. You do have more characters for the description, so you should definitely make use of that. This is just where you would start, and you're going to maximize, so you're going to do all 20. You have to code what type of activity it is. These are the categories. This would be an example of an extracurricular activity that's filled out. In this case, it's National Honor Society, so you can see the format of how that's going to look. The next thing would be an award. So in this case, you can see the different things that go into indicating what type of award it was, your eligibility, how you earned the award, the level of recognition, the name of the award, the grade level, and the type of award and things like that. After that, you have the early academic outreach program. So this is if you had already participated in this, you would indicate the information for this. The next part of the application is scholarships, so it is built into the application. You have the possibility of making over 100 maximum selections. So you can see the different categories for scholarships here: academic major and interest, affiliation with group, program, organization, ancestry and descendants, career plans, ethnicity, national origin or religion, extracurricular activities and work experience, family circumstances and relationships, health and disabilities. And you have some more examples here. You can read this information as you're working through the application to decide which categories and which selections would be best for you. Next, we have the Educational Opportunity Program, which, as they state, is a set of programs that provide assistance through mentorship, academic programs, financial assistance, counseling, advising, and other campus support services to those first-generation college students and from low-income and education disadvantaged backgrounds. EOP serves students from all ethnic backgrounds and is open to only California residents and to American Indians from any state. So if you were interested in this program and you qualify for it based on the other eligibility that they stated, then this is where you would fill out that information. From there, you have the personal insight questions where you're given 8 prompts. You have to choose 4. The length requirements are between 250 to 350 words. And you have another additional comment section, but in this case, what we advocate for filling out this information would be to talk about how you overcame adversity, how you overcame obstacles in your life to get to where you are. So it's more like a personal reflection kind of space. So that's how you can frame it. And they do give you some information in terms of how to seek out summer programs, which are the early academic outreach programs, which can help you, transition into UCLA or the other UCs. And that's it. So as we saw, the UC application has various components. It's very similar to the Common App, but there are important differences, so keep those in mind. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.
今天谢谢万博士和皮埃尔先生的分享，有任何的问题还可以继续给我们留言。感谢您收看我们今天的节目，我们下期见。